Welcome back, one and all, to PodStance, the PunkStance Podcast. It is me once again introducing the latest episode of Release Ramble with good old Logan. It was making me think of the X-Men film Logan, which I need to watch again because it's a bloody amazing film. But it's not him, it's not Hugh Jackman, and it's not Logan from X-Men. It is Logan from the band Daysick, who is a Canadian-based pop-punk band who are releasing a variety of songs for the release of their debut album this year. I can't give any major details. He goes into as much detail as I'm allowed to speak about in the episode itself. Daysick are a band from Nova Scotia, and Logan is sort of the lead vocals guitarist, and he's got a variety of friends that are influenced by the pop-punk, heavy metal, punk rock, pop, and indie scene that have become this band Daysick, and basically all they've done is created their own alternative rock sound with this band. He goes into a great amount of detail about the band itself in the episode and their upcoming concept album that was recorded over last year, and the theming about the album is something that really struck me, with themes of like regret, self-discovery, and redemption after near death. So the discussion that we have is actually incredibly deep and thought-provoking, and it's incredibly exciting to listen to, so I hope you guys enjoy it as much as I did. I won't keep you any longer because my nose is full, so yeah, there's stuff going around still. But yeah, no, thank you very much, Logan, for coming on, and yeah, I'll see you on the other side.
Hey, buddy, how's it going?
There he is. How you doing?
Ah, good, brother. How are you?
Yeah, very well, very well. I've I decided for this one because there's a massive flu going around in the UK. I am in bed for this one, so I'm gonna have a nice, comfy time.
Ah,
I hope
that's
that's
good.
fine. But thank you for
Oh
coming
yeah,
on.
man, no sweat.
Yeah, thank you very much for coming on. It's we only planned this a few days ago because you sent me a message through about new stuff that was coming up, and I've just had a listen to lessons again prior to you coming on.
Nice. Yeah.
Absolutely love it. It's a great new sound from what you were doing before, and it's quite mellow in a way from what I could tell based on what you were doing before. But for those, we'll just get straight into it, to be honest. For those
Yeah.
who don't know Daysick, who are you? Where have you come from? What's the next step?
Right on. Yeah. So, Daysick, we started back. We've been around for a bit now. So we started back in 2020, right when COVID kind of locked everything down. Me and our drummer, we decided to link up and start making some music. Wasn't much going on then. We're like, great time to kind of just throw a project together. So we started getting some instrumentals together, really liking what we had. Kind of came up with an idea. We were both big like MCR fans, so we were like, concept album be pretty cool. So started toying with some ideas what to do there. Ended up getting like a bunch of instrumentals together. So then we got our old bass player. So we were a three-piece for a bit. We started playing shows, did a couple like tracks like from like local studios and whatnot. Really weren't loving the quality. And then about 2 years ago, ironically enough, our drummer met our lead guitar player, who he met him at a Magic the Gathering tournament.
Oh,
So
really?
they were playing Magic the Gathering, and met him, and he's like, yeah, man, I own a studio. I'm looking for a band to start, whatnot. And we were like, oh, well, we've been searching for a lead guitar player, so this is great. So brought him in, and then right about the time we brought him in, we lost our old bass player. So basically, we were like, live sets are going to be a little tough to do with three-piece. Alex, our lead guitar player, is great. So he was like, we can record the album at my studio. I'll mix, master, do all that, and I'll just play the bass parts. So we took like 2 years off from shows, really tried to just like hone in the sound we wanted. Like when you're getting like free studio time, it's a lot less pressure to try and figure out what you want versus like, holy shit, I got like 10 minutes left of this session. I got to figure something out. So yeah, so we really took our time with it. We took about a year to get it all recorded. And then so Alex spent the last year just mixing, mastering everything. And then we just got it all done here, probably in August. It was all finished up.
Wow.
And so once we got it all finished up, we're like, let's set a date. So now what we're doing is we put lessons out on the 20th there, and we're going to be releasing a song every month up till May, and then we're putting the whole album out there in May.
Wow. I was going to say, I saw you put up a story recently for your next one on the 24th, I think, if I'm,
24th.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, we're releasing Good Riddance. That's that one, the next one there.
perfect. Wow. And how has
Yeah.
the response been to lessons up following your previous attempt?
Oh, it's, you know what? It's actually been really good compared when we had put out our old music before, like our feeler stuff, you know, kind of new at it. We didn't really know how to approach it and whatnot. And again, like studio quality wasn't where it should be. So this one's been really good. We're at about what's the seventh now? So we're at about roughly 3 weeks of it being out, and we're almost at 10,000 streams now. So we're pretty happy with it so far, and response has been good. Everything seems to be growing, and we've had a couple good responses from like overseas too, which is good. So like Brazil's been liking it. Getting some good traction in the UK there, and then the States too, which has been kind of nice.
And I guess I'm almost intrigued to see how you feel about the comparison between, I think it was Jealous was your original song that you put up maybe like a
Yeah,
couple of years ago or so, compared to Lessons Now and then Good Riddance that's coming out in a week or maybe a couple of weeks or so. What are your feelings with your new sound now? Because obviously it's a lot more varied. There's a lot more emotional depth to it now.
yeah. To be honest, I hate listening to our old stuff. Yeah,
Yeah, we get that a
um,
lot.
yeah. We had our old demos on there too, and like just compared to where we're at now for like quality wise and whatnot, we were like, there's not even any point having these on there. So we got rid of our old demos from Spotify, and Jealous was kind of the one that we were like, it's okay enough. We can keep that on as kind of like a progression track. People can see that and then see where it goes. But I think now it definitely is where we want it to be. Before when we were recording, it was like we do a studio session. We'd always be like, we should book one more because we'd finish it, but you'd listen back to it, you'd be like, it's just not how I want it. And then now with this one, we had so much like time and like freedom to kind of just experiment, do what we want, that we actually like got to just put everything where we wanted it to. Um, and then having like Alex, our lead guitar player, mix and master it was a lot easier because he's we could ask him like, hey Alex, man, like bump the vocals up or maybe like make that snare hit a bit harder, and it's not going to cost us like $25 for an hour for him to do that. So
Yeah, I wonder what is it like having someone in the band mixing and mastering it? Like I imagine it makes it a full group project overall. Like this must be
yeah,
a labor of love, this whole album.
it's great, man, because we finished up recording last, not the summer just passed, one before that there. And I moved a province over. So I'm like 4 hours away from the other guys, but I'm still relatively close. But so I moved over, and we had all the stems and everything done, and we kind of just left it with Alex. And Alex is like, I'm gonna record my lead guitar, I'm gonna record the bass, and then I'm gonna do some harmonies for it, and then I'll mix and master it, and I'll get back to you guys when it's done. So, we'd have like chit chat here and there, and then a couple months later at the Blue, he's like, "What do you think of this?" And we heard it, we're like, "Holy shit, man! Like that is better than we ever thought." So it was real nice that way, and
Mm.
especially I find if like the person in the band is the one mixing it, there's a bit more excuse me, there's a bit more kind of like intention and care with it versus say someone just doing it as like for a job, whereas Alex wants to do it because he wants the band to sound good as well.
Mm. No, absolutely. And that whole passion definitely comes through in lessons, particularly in like the tones and the themes that come through. I know that you've written down that it's a story of a sort of a character grappling with regret and self-discovery and redemption and all these quite large themes, even talking about near-death experiences and all that. Are they all like
Mhm.
personal stories that you've sort of vicariously put into the music, or is it sort of a story that you've come up as a band with?
I would say it's kind of a bit of both, like a lot of the songs are like probably like topics and things that we've felt about. It's like everyone kind of goes through. Well, I would say mostly it's like a combination of like series of like moods and like phases like we've gone through, and then just like kind of that phase that some people get stuck in, where it's like you get stuck in like just a shitty mindset
Mm.
of like everything sucks, the world's against me, whatnot. So we thought it'd be cool to maybe make the concept album of someone who was living that life and then ended up like having a near death experience, and then like on their deathbed, like thinking back, like realizing then how like shitty they had lived and what they wanted to do different. And actually the last track we're going to be releasing right before the album drops is the self-titled track of the album. It's called Every Good Story Ends in Tragedy. And that kind of ties together the whole thing, so you get to hear the ending of the story and what happens there in that track.
And so the album itself is called sorry, I've just what did you I can't remember what you just said. It was a
Yeah,
whole long
sorry,
sentence.
it's a long title. Yeah, the album itself is called Every Good Story Ends in Tragedy.
Wow. And is that sort of a culmination of the entire record's themes and it all comes into one song?
Yeah, exactly. So I guess I'll explain a bit of the concept though. So the story, each song's kind of like a bridge to the next one there in the concept. So the first song's called Retry, and so it's when the character's actually like experiencing, like realizing he's having a near death experience. And so he's realizing he's having a near death experience, and he's like, what am I gonna do? Like, come on, like give me one more chance. Like, I'm not ready to be done with life yet. Like, I haven't done anything I wanted to. And then the following tracks leading up are him reflecting kind of in that in between area of life and death. He's like reflecting back on all the things in his life he did wrong. So it goes through stories of like relationships and like the wrong mindset he had for those and how he let those affect himself. And then mindset, like there's a song called Optimist, which is just a song about him talking about how he spent his whole life pretending he was happy, but in reality, he couldn't bring himself to actually be a good optimist. And then there's one's Jealous, which is the demo we put out. That one's about where he just can't be happy for other people because he's always jealous of himself, or jealous of them, and unhappy with himself. And then a few more go down there, and then you get to Lessons, where it's the second last track of the album. And Lessons is him kind of realizing through all this reflection. He's like, I wish I knew this before. Like, wish I would have like trusted my instinct, not just done things for other people, lived for myself. So it's his kind of like last letter to everyone else who might hear it, just being like, don't be like me, live your life the right way, don't take things for granted. And then it goes into the last track, which is kind of the revelation of the whole album, where you find out what happens to him, and it's kind of his goodbye song. And then at the end, you find out if it's a death experience or just a near death one.
Oh wow. So you actually leave people on a bit of a lyrical cliffhanger in a way.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's
Wow.
kind of what we wanted to do. Wanted to keep it like, wanted to make like each song keep building, so you got intrigued by it.
I've never, well, maybe I just haven't explored enough music, but I've never experienced, I haven't heard the album yet, but I've never heard someone describe an album to me with such a clear narrative throughout the whole thing. Normally people have themes that link them together, but it seems you guys have written quite literally a story throughout the entire record, which is not, something that doesn't normally happen in albums alone, let alone like the pop punk genre of any kind.
Yeah, for sure. And that was the big thing we were really aiming for. Is like, we wanted to make songs that could stand alone and be relevant for people, but then once you put them all together, there was an actual story being told through the whole album.
Wow, that's so good. And how would you define the overall sound of the record? Because lyrically, obviously, there's going to be some deep themes there, but Lessons has a sort of slower pop punk, almost emo vibe to it, as you said, the sort of MCR influences there. Um, but I imagine it's going to delve into other more experimental sounds or sort of carry over the entire rock genre, as it were.
Yeah, and that's kind of exactly what we wanted to do. Like almost, I think for like each song, we almost took a different like approach to what genre we were trying to write in. So we kind of wanted to get the whole umbrella of rock genres. So each song's a bit different. So we start with Retry. That's almost got a bit more of like a classic rock kind of feel to the start. And then we have our next song, Dieter, it's called. It's just a short for deteriorate. We were like, too long of a name. So that one's more of a punk feel. And then Optimus is more of our like slower alt rock kind of. It's like very like Sublime vibes. Jealous is like a classic pop punk vibe we went for. Our fifth song we took kind of just like dark emo. That was kind of like the around the fifth song, the vibe kind of starts like getting darker towards the end of the album. Good Riddance was definitely more of a hard rock approach we took. So hard rock with some more, it's very hard rock with a lot of melodies. So there's a lot of like driving guitars in it, but then soothing soft melodies at the same time. Lessons was, like you said, kind of like slower pop punk, like alt rock emo we were going for. And then the last one's kind of, I would say, alt rock. And then we have a big breakdown at the end that's kind of prog rocky. So we've kind of made each song feel different, but like still be in that same umbrella.
Yeah, well, you sounds like you've really ticked off basically every single genre that you
Yeah.
can, which is great. I mean,
Yeah.
if you're doing a concept album like that, then you want to kind of incorporate as much into it as possible. I mean, do you have a favorite track of the ones that you're allowed to talk about?
Yeah, I would say for sure. The one that's the one that's coming out next, Good Riddance, that is probably that one or our very last track. That's the self-titled track. Every good story ends in tragedy. Those two would probably be my favorite. The last track I think might take the edge a bit, just as when we go into a breakdown there, we do some kind of fun experimental stuff. We go into like a 5/4 timing, and then throw in some tapping that's like harmonized between the guitar and bass. So a lot of just like fun stuff like that. It's kind of fun experimenting with like prog rock stuff.
No, I imagine. And do you have any major influences outside of MCR? Considering there's so many genres, did you go to a lot of other sounds from however many years ago, from when you were, growing up, or when you guys met initially? Was there like major bands that came through to inspire the record?
Oh yeah, for sure. I would say, so yeah, like you said, MCR was a big inspiration in terms of like storytelling and lyrically. Um, Billy Talent was a big one too.
I haven't heard that name in
So
a while.
yeah, I know they're big in Canada. We love them here. Uh, but Billy Talent was a big one for sure. Just kind of when we were back to when we were just a three piece, it was like I had to try and make guitar riffs that were going to be like enough that it could sit in the rhythm, but then like intriguing enough that it's not just sounding like a rhythm guitar. So a lot of the guitar riffs definitely got inspired from some Billy Talent stuff. Um, in terms of like structuring songs, I think Sum 41, like song structure, was a big one. We liked a lot of the way Sum 41 songs went, especially like melodies too. I would say, like with the Sum 41 songs, you get such nice like heavy guitars, but then you get some nice soothing melody in the chorus.
Mm,
I
absolutely.
would say those three are big ones, and then definitely some like more minor ones would be like Smashing Pumpkins were a big one too, kind of in terms of like the fluidity of their genre, like how much they go up and down with what they're writing.
Mm. Oh, God, and again, another name I haven't heard in a while. It's a
Yeah,
almost epitomizes the 90s sound that you're probably going
yeah,
for. Oh, I love it.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, 90s, early 2000 was definitely like the era we wanted to capture with it.
No, and in lessons you definitely have. I can only imagine what Good Riddance is going to sound like. Um, I
Yeah,
think I guess the other thing is like I know Canada for being such a haven for modern pop punk bands. Like I'm a huge fan of
hmm
Bearings, I'm a huge fan of Seaway, all of those guys I love and have done for a while. Is that are the modern side is the modern side something that's influenced you as well, or something that captured your interest of getting back into music? Did you listen to some of theirs and think that's, I want to sound like that? Or have you just been following it gradually and ebbing and flowing with the whole genre in Canada specifically?
I would say, yeah, I think that like uh reemergence of like that genre coming back out. Like definitely like seeing bands that are putting out music that we like and that we want to put out was a big influence to being like, like this stuff's starting to come back. Let's actually put a project like this together. So seeing bands like that start popping up again and getting popular was a big thing that we were like, okay, if we make an album like this, there is an audience that's still going to listen to it. Um, and then yeah, like modern pop punk sounds. I would say like our next like the most modern pop punk sound, like a shout out to you guys in the UK would be Neck Deep. They were a big one too in terms of kind of like deciding like at least in terms of like mixing and stuff like that too, like just how we wanted to kind of blend like modern day pop punk versus like 2000s era.
It's so cool. Like it sounds
Yeah.
like you've been able to capture every single element of the genre in one big album. It's a shame you've only got one song out at the moment because I want to. There's so much more that I'd love to talk
Yeah.
about, but I guess you guys are trying to keep it as on the down low as you can, considering it's a full album.
Yeah, it's been especially where we had that 2 year gap where we weren't really playing shows or anything like that and just working on the album. So we thought, a slow release to kind of build back momentum and whatnot's good again. So kind of keep giving a bit of a teaser each time, and then
Mm.
when we put the album out, there will be 3 songs on it that haven't been released. So you'll get to hear it all through with 3 extra songs. But it's getting exciting now, getting it all out here soon. So we're trying to keep it enough that like a month apart for each song. So once you've like heard the one song enough, it's like okay, there's a new one coming out here soon.
It's going back to the old days of actually having to wait for stuff to come out. You can hype
Yeah,
yourself
yeah,
up to
exactly.
it. Yeah, in the day where you
Yeah,
can basically stream anything, it's nice to have something to look forward to. Certainly for me
yeah,
anyway. Have like
yeah,
people
for sure.
around obviously you're 4 hours away from everyone else. But has there been a decent like amount of hype around your local scene, your sort of the underground scene from where you guys are, and then also just sort of general friends and family as well? I imagine they're very supportive as well.
Yeah, for sure. We've definitely had a couple of like local bands been reaching out to us after they heard the track. It was kind of nice, like I said, like we we kind of took a hiatus for a bit, so it was kind of nice popping back up again here, but like with new, better music than what we had released before. Um, so a lot of the local bands have been really supportive of that, and we actually just got a new bass player. He officially joined 2 weeks ago or so. And he lives here with me. So I'm in Fredericton, New Brunswick, and the other guys are down past Halifax there in Nova Scotia. So he's here with me. So we've kind of all just been getting ready, getting show ready now, and talking to a lot of bands, which we're excited about because definitely want to get on some bills here soon with them. And there's just nothing better than getting on a show with a bunch of just great guys that are in other bands and everyone just equally supporting each other's music. So we're really really looking forward to that. This summer should be a heavy summer for us.
No, I don't doubt it. I mean, yeah, did you do many live shows prior to the hiatus, or was this sort of a new thing for you all?
No, prior to the hiatus, we were doing a lot. We were probably doing like one or two a weekend for about a year
Oh,
straight.
wow.
So yeah, we were doing a lot, and honestly, I found when we were playing shows was kind of where we were figuring out how we wanted to put stuff on the album. So it was like the more shows we played, we kind of like toyed around with stuff during the set and whatnot. You're like, okay, like I like doing it this way better. Like maybe let's try this when we get in to laying it down for the album.
Mm. Oh wow. I I love the I mean Canada itself I adore. I've only been the once, but I really want to go back. I had a
Yeah,
friend
where'd you
who
go? Where'd you go in Canada?
I had a friend who was studying in oh God, where was it now? Calgary. He was studying in Alberta
Oh, okay.
for 6 months. And I was like,
Yeah.
I'm never gonna get this chance again. So we flew to see him in Calgary, and then we did the visit to Banff, we did Lake Louise, we did all of that
Oh
stuff.
yeah.
Oh my God, I love your country so much.
Oh yeah, it's great.
What's
Yeah, it's
what's Nova Scotia and New Brunswick like?
so like yeah, we're on like the East Coast there. Um right on the water. So Nova Scotia, like that's where I'm from. I'm just living here for school, but Nova Scotia's it's almost an island. Almost, it's connected to New Brunswick by a little piece of land there. Um, but it's just very like maritime feel. So it used to feel small before, but it's starting to grow a lot now. So it's starting to get bigger. I would say the best way to describe Halifax, I don't know if you've been to the States at all, but Halifax is like a smaller Boston in terms of like kind of like feel, geography, and people.
So I've only done
Um,
New York in terms of the States, so
okay,
I don't know
yeah,
if it's a very good comparison. I haven't done any smaller cities or anything rural, but I kind of know what you mean. Especially in the UK, you have London, which is just this, mega city in the middle of the country, and then you have other sort of smaller cities dotted around, which are just as influential, but it's not London. It's just these little
yeah,
dotted places around. So I know what you mean. Um, but I loved the culture there as well. I mean, there was so much to offer, and everyone's so nice, and everyone wears bobble hats. That's the main thing, or everyone wears
yeah,
some form of hat. I mean, even you now, you're inside and you've got
yeah,
one of
yeah.
those.
Exactly. Yeah. No, it's like hats and flannels. You can never
I
get
love
away
it.
from them here.
I love
Yeah.
it.
But yeah, no, it's and then so where I'm at now, Fredericton, that's like the capital of New Brunswick. New Brunswick's weird, man. It's like there's three cities here, but like each city is the same size and neither of them are like particularly big. So they're all like 80,000 people. So there's like and they're all in like a triangle. So when you first come into New Brunswick from Nova Scotia, you get Moncton. And Moncton's got about like 80,000 people. And then you come down this way, and it's like where I'm at, Fredericton, about 80,000 people. And you go up north, and then there's St. John. It's like 80,000 people. So it's like each city kind of feels the same, but like doesn't really feel like a city, just feels like a really big town.
Yeah, I know that feeling.
Yeah.
And I know you said that
Yeah.
I know you said we were going to do this a couple of days ago, but you said you were finishing off your final. If I mean, it's unrelated, but what's that about? If you can talk about it.
Oh yeah, no, I was just I had an online course from school that like went longer than the rest of my courses, and so I thought I'd get a lot more done over Christmas break than I did, and I was like, so I really had to kind of just grind down to get the rest of it. It was just some gross algebra course I had to do.
Oh my God, what's that? Is that
Yeah,
like just one section of a full course, or is it for anything in particular?
yeah, it's just like a prereq I need for my undergrad there. So just something like I have to do that I don't want to, basically.
Is it a maths undergrad, or is it they're just sending you
No, I'm
random algebra questions to do for fun?
yeah, pretty much. No, I'm in like I'm in kinesiology. So like it's like a bachelor of science in like human movement and whatnot like that, anatomy and all that. So so you need they need you to do the algebra so that when you get into like different uh courses you have to do later on that like you can do the math equations and whatnot. And it's like you're taking a whole course for maybe something you'd use twice in the rest of your degree.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Another day not using sin, cos, or tan. One of those
Yeah,
classic moves.
exactly. Yeah, exactly.
I
I've
was
only put my calculator in radians once. So yeah.
I literally I did my degree in English, so I'm just the opposite
Okay.
of a maths person. I just don't understand it. Like all of it. I've got a friend who I went to see in Canada, funnily enough, is currently doing his PhD in chemistry, and everything he
Oh
took.
yeah.
He's like 2 years into a 5 year course, and everything he talks about, I'm just gonna pretend I know what you're saying. I've got absolutely no idea, but I mean, he's a big fan of pop punk too, so
Nice.
I have to hang out with him. We just
I
can't
gotta
talk about.
ask. I gotta ask. Are you a big rugby fan?
I am a big rugby fan. Um,
Okay,
not not massively now, but it is going to start soon. I'm hoping get the Six Nations
I would
going.
say half. Yeah, half our band were rugby players.
Oh really? Oh my
So
God!
yeah,
What
yeah. Me and the
positions?
bass player.
What
I'm
position?
a winger.
I was just
I'm
gonna
a
say
winger,
you're a
and
winger.
yeah, and he's a second row.
Oh, second round. Oh my God. I couldn't.
Yeah,
I
he
could
just gets
not
his face.
bear.
He just gets his face stepped on.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
was gonna say being part of the scrum is a nightmare. I did it like
yeah.
once when I was at school, and it's just not my thing.
One thing I'll say though is like being part of a rugby club and doing music. Like I hadn't. I was hurt for a bit when we first started our albums. I tore my ACL, and so
Oh,
I wasn't playing much rugby. And so when I came here, nothing was out yet, but now we're releasing stuff. And I will say, like being part of a rugby club and part of a team, massive help in terms of like just the support you get from
mm.
the music, like the lads on the team, man. You do well, no matter what you do, if it's like good, bad, they're like right there behind you supporting it. So that's a big thing.
I did not think that rugby would come into this, but you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
I remember playing it. I haven't played it in ages now, but I used to play it a lot at school, and I was a centre. I think
Okay. Yeah.
maybe left centre. I can't remember the exact positions. But I was either centre or fly half or fullback. So
Yeah.
depending on how I felt in the day, how like engaged in the game I wanted to be, that's what I would do. But I remember
Hey, at least
when we
you're
were
part of the
playing.
good guys.
Well, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. Still a back. So that's what matters. Yeah.
I'm a support. I'm always a support. I never found myself being particularly well, popular is not the wrong word, but supportive in the team. I was put in fullback because they looked at me and went, "Nah, he's not the sporty type. He can go at the back." But in the end,
Yeah.
I love it as a sport. I mean, I don't know when the Six Nations is starting. Do you have like a similar tournament like the Six Nations that you guys get
Man,
involved in?
Canada sucks at rugby right now. We've been in a downward spiral since like 2015. We didn't even make the World Cup the last 2 years.
Damn.
Our women's team's doing great, but men's team's just been a shit show. So we have like the closest thing we have like Vancouver Sevens, and I think we lost the whole thing this year. And so uh, mostly like here we'll usually just like pick a country we like to support. And I'd say everyone's pretty divided with who they like. I'm a big DuPont fan, so as much as you probably hate hearing that, I like watching France, but I do love, not by much though, because you probably won't like this either, but I do like Scotland just from Duhon. The guy's too much of a unit.
I mean, I can't deny that they are very, very good teams. I mean, when we had was it not Owen Wilson? What on earth is his name? Something Owen. I can't
Oh
remember now.
yeah,
I can't remember
yeah.
his name. Something Owen. I'll have to look it up in a minute. Um, like when he was leading the team, I was very, very engaged with it. And I would say just last year when the Six Nations was on, I was really, really into it. Because a lot of one of the guys I was living with at university as well was part of the social sec for the rugby club at the university.
Oh
So
nice, yeah.
I was constantly, being inundated with rugby people coming to the house. So
Hmm.
I almost couldn't get away from it. Um, and then what was it? I had my first 0% Guinness as well, watching the rugby
Oh yeah,
because I was like,
yeah. That was big.
I don't drink anyway, but I was like, you know what? I'm gonna try it. Some people have said it's quite good. I'm gonna embrace it, and they were all right. I've had it more than once, so that's a good
I
sign.
haven't I haven't got to one yet. I like, I don't know. Whenever I drink Guinness, I'm always going right for it. And I think it's also just the fact that I haven't had any 0% around, but I've been interested because like last year in the World or Six Nations, it was on like every sideline there. Like the whole
Mm.
tournament was sponsored by that 0% there. So the advertising worked for me. It caught my eye. I just haven't had the willpower to drink a 0% yet. Yeah.
I can understand that. I mean, when I went to Canada, there was I think it was in Banff. We went to this bowling alley, and they had like 70 different taps on the back for
Yeah.
different beers. I didn't realize that the beer culture in Canada was just that mental. Like loads of places have hundreds and hundreds of taps for just random stuff that's around the place. It's brilliant. I loved it. It was
Yeah,
crazy.
that's one thing. That's like one industry that really picked up like the last 15 years in Canada was like craft beer. Like
Yeah.
every town you go to or city you go to, there's a brewery there. And so you can like, it's almost like one of those like postcards you get, or like one of those like stamp cards you get where you like stamp off a beer from like each city. So you can go to like different cities and try like different beers and like find breweries you like.
It's just crazy. I distinctly remember that because there was so many. We just went bowling and then we stayed there for like 3 hours, just going, What are these names? What are they all?" Oh, it was brilliant. I just remember Canada so fondly, just for everything from its like drinks to the landscapes to the music to everything. And
Yeah, you got to come back.
I will. I absolutely will
Yeah.
have to. But I guess what's your experience with being Canadian yourself? Like, how do you feel about it in terms of the music scene, about everything?
Okay. Yeah, Canada's fun, man. It's like you have you have like everything you need here. So if you want the city life, you can go to Toronto, Montreal, Calgary, where not. Um, and then you can also have like that nice kind of rural life if you wanted to. Um, so you can kind of pick and choose like where you're at. And then in terms of music scene, each city's got its own kind of distinct music scene. And if someone comes and visits from another city, it's everyone loves it. It's like we're like whenever you're like a visiting band in a different province, underneath your name at the bill, you'll always have like the city you're from. So it kind of intrigues people a bit to like see a band from out of province or whatnot, which is pretty cool. And I find like just with the local scenes, like everyone just loves to hear like it's a lot of love for just the music itself. Like everyone just wants to hear like what you have to offer. And yeah, it's definitely fun. Like we go to the States for rugby tours all the time and we go down there and we just like whack on the Canadian accent and it's so fun because we'll really up it a notch and people are like, oh, what's Canada like? And it's so funny because they think it's so different, but it's pretty well the same, just more expensive.
And I don't doubt that. I mean, my dad went to I think he went to Florida to visit to see the final space shuttle go at Cape
Oh
Canaveral.
yeah.
So he got the chance to do that on his own, and he stayed in a little diner in the middle of Florida. And he was like, he did his classic like, "Oh, can I just have a cup of tea, please?" And this woman looked him dead in the eyes and went, "Oh my God, are you French?" And he was like, he's like, No, no, I'm not. I'm from London." And then because they think the
Yeah.
UK is so small, they were like, "Oh, do you know this family? This one family
Yeah.
in the middle of nowhere." It's like it's a country of 65,000 people, 65 million even. That otherwise that
Yeah.
might know. Oh, they're so funny. And even in New York, although it's massively multicultural, you still get a lot of people going, "Oh." But that's just them, I imagine. Have you ever wanted to come to the UK? Is that something of interest?
Oh yeah, UK's a big thing. We definitely want to get up there. Like I want to get up for a visit. Like I want to come see Six Nations up in Europe in general.
There you go.
But I want to get up. I want to get to UK too. We got some friends from up there that we played rugby with before that are up in Wales and where's the other guy from? Oh, he's in. I don't want to say it because I'm gonna get it wrong and he's gonna bitch at me because you know how you say the wrong town and next thing you know, like yeah. But he's from I think Northern England there. But yeah, so I definitely get up there. Uh, we definitely want to get the band up there too, just like get an overseas thing going. Our plan for right now is kind of get uh, get some shows throughout Eastern Canada here. We got some contacts down in the States too, so we're gonna try and get down to kind of Northeast US there, you know, like Massachusetts, Maine, New York. Get in there, just do some guest shows, whatnot, and hopefully just try and keep getting booked for more of them.
Well, I guess that's all you can do at the moment. Just see
Yeah,
where it takes you, what lies ahead for the band. Um,
yeah,
but I guess, this is probably the most exciting time when you have the build up to the album and you've already got your first single, so the actual train has started going. It's just what happens next.
yeah, for sure. It's definitely great because we've been waiting. Like we've had the date set for a bit, but it's just been like so long of like tweaking stuff and being like, is it ready? But like now it's ready and everything's done and it's just got to get put out. So it's pretty exciting. Knowing people are going to get to hear everything that we worked on for so long.
Getting back to the idea of the band itself and your plans for the future, I do have to ask, where the hell does the name Daysick come from?
Okay, so yeah, so we are trying to figure out a name for the band, or I guess back then it was just a project when it was just Mikey, our drummer, and me. We were just working. We were like, the name was a big thing for us. We were like, what should we do for a name, you know? Because we didn't want to just have something cheesy that like people be like, what the hell is this, right? So we spent we spent like 4 months just shooting names back and forth to each other. What should we call it? What should we call it? And I can't remember if Mike found it or not, but I think he found it on Urban Dictionary. He was looking through, and he saw something, I think, that was called Daysick. Again, I can't remember if this came before or after like the name came out, but I remember we looked at Urban Dictionary and saw Daysick, and it was like the name of it, or it meant when you're sick during the day, but by night you're good to go again. So you're just Daysick. Yeah. So pretty much, so someone, you say like your girlfriend or something, it's like you're going to a party tonight. I thought you stayed home sick from work. You're like, no, I was just day sick. Yeah.
I'm gonna have to use that now. It's like if I want to get
Yeah.
out of
Yeah.
work. No, I'm just day sick. It's fine.
Yeah. I'll be good by 5.
Yeah. The moment the work
Yeah.
day's over, suddenly I'm
Yeah.
feeling a lot better. The flu's gone. I'm perfectly fine. Oh man, that's so
Exactly.
stupid. I love it. That's so
Yeah,
fun.
exactly. That's what we thought too. We were like, nice, that works, can like easy to remember. And so when we started, once we got our first like bit of demos done, we are like, we need one thing for us we really wanted was like badass artwork, like something cool. And so there was a guy from Halifax we saw do some really cool work for another guy we knew who's a rapper, and we really liked his artwork. It was almost like it like looked like a comic book. And we are like, that's kind of the style we want. So we reached out to him. His name's JD Boudreau, and he plays in a pretty badass metal band too called, oh, I don't want to botch their name, Spirit of the Wildflower, I'm pretty sure. Let me just double check that so I can give them a proper shout out.
Get the fact check.
Yeah. Yeah, Spirit of the Wildfire, sorry. Yeah.
Hang on.
Anyways, they're I would say they're kind of like a post-hardcore band.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, so
5
so we
unhinged civilians. Is that them?
yeah,
5 unhinged civilians
yeah,
from the ether playing the
that's
soundtrack for a stone-induced aneurysm called Brick and Roll. That's that's just ridiculous. I love it.
we saw him do some artwork for our buddy, and we're like, yeah, we need to get on that. So we got him designing some ideas, and we kind of just gave him free will. We're like, hey man, here's our track. Like, we're gonna do a concept album. This is kind of the basis of it, and we need some logos and some artwork. And so he came up with the pill logo we have there, and we saw that pill logo. And we're like, perfect. Like that's exactly what we want. That works great for Daysick. So he got us our pill logo, and then we were thinking it'd be cool for like each track when it has it's like each single like gets released when it has its artwork, that if you look at them, it's kind of like going like a comic book strip. So to kind of continue telling the story. So we have once that's all out, like once they're all out, you'll be able to line them up and kind of look and see a bit of a comic book strip with all the artwork from the singles.
Oh, nice. Because I was going to say the artwork from Lessons is the guy looking over the book, obviously.
Yeah,
And if that's the penultimate song, is it going to be like, is the album art, the full album art going to be every single little strip, or is it just going to be one for the singles where you can look at them sort of consecutively?
the album art is still in discussion right now.
Okay.
We've got a couple ideas that we're toying with right now, but we haven't decided fully. That I imagine is going to be a very last minute decision, kind of like when we submit the album to get uploaded, we're gonna be like, okay, we're deciding now. This is going to be it.
Just roulette it, which you have like 3 different options, and then if one of them, just,
Yeah,
right, that one, we'll go with that one.
yeah, exactly. That's probably what it's going to come down to.
Nice. Well, with all this stuff going on though, like even with the album art getting down to like these little nitty gritty bits, have you guys had particular challenges that you've had to sort of overcome to get all this stuff done? Obviously, following the hiatus, like what's happened that could have put a spanner in the works, as it were?
I would say like the biggest challenge we had was when our old bass player left the band. He left kind of right as we were about to start recording the album. Um, so he left the band, and it kind of left us with that gap. And that was partly the reason why we took the hiatus from live shows. Like we didn't want to just rush into finding a bass player either. We were like, so for the time being, the three of us, Mikey, Alex, and me, like we can make the album with the three of us, and then once that's all settled, we can figure out who we want for a bass player. In terms of like the rest of the logistics of it, it hasn't been too bad because we kind of split it up between the three of us. So more so versus like rather than having just like one person take on everything we have to do, it's a bit of everyone. I would say when it comes to like the storytelling aspect and things of that nature, that's more so falls on me. So I'll do most of that. When it comes to like production, mixing and all that, then that's Alex's realm. Mikey kind of plays the drums, but yeah, no, I'm kidding. He does a lot. But and then when it comes to like promoing and stuff like that, we'll usually all take our own kind of approach to it. So like one of us will promo like one aspect of it, say like one of us will run like a Submit Hub or like Grover campaign or Groover, I mean, campaign or whatnot. The other one will run like reach out to like local people, etc. And the other one will be like getting like the Instagram and Facebook posts and everything ready. So it definitely gets like split down the middle, which is nice. And then usually when we like figure out our ideas, we usually have a good grasp of what we want to do beforehand. And then when we all meet up, we kind of just put it all out there, try things out, kind of collaborate, see what we like, and we all get along quite well. So it's like when we're working on stuff, whether it be like songwriting versus like where we should go with like the next set of promotions or band stuff, no one's ever really like intimidated by the other one to like say their ideas. And at the same time, if someone shoots down your idea, no one's really that upset over it. So it's kind of a good system we have set up right now. And then so now our problem of no bass players solved too. Because it's actually a funny story how we got our new bass player. So like I said, he plays rugby with me, and he's been my buddy for 2 years now. He was from Halifax, moved up to Fredericton here, and I was the only person he knew up here. He's like, I don't have any friends, so I need you to like introduce me some people. I was like, okay. I knew we played rugby together, so I was like, oh great, I'll just you can just come meet my university team, and then you have like 60 friends right there. And so he instantly joined, and so I've been hanging out with him a lot throughout the past summer, and it never clicked to me, but we would just hang out and like play guitar, like he'd play bass or something, like just jamming, right? And then I was like, wait a second. I was like, Mike, man, we have two mics now, by the way. So I was like, Mike, man, like you play bass. I keep forgetting that. He's like, yeah, I love playing bass. I was like, but fuck, man, we need a bass player. And like, he's a big nerd too. Loves Magic the Gathering, just like PC gaming all the time. And I was like, man, I think this might be a good fit. So I was telling the other boys in the band about him. I was like, Mike's great, same sense of humor as us, like easygoing, and he lives here with me, so we can practice. And anyways, we brought him up for a jam, and just like I predicted, everyone loved him. And so now he's a full-fledged member. So we got our bass player slot filled, which is just great.
Good to hear that rugby played a role in that. I'm glad to hear it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's good. Yeah, and then like I said, now it means like, you know, when we have a local show here or whatnot, or like even in Halifax with our old teammates, if like two of your teammates are in the same band at a show, like the whole club showing up there, just an excuse for the boys to get some pints and enjoy some live music.
Yeah, why not? I mean, get it flowing.
Yeah,
You have the excuse. Oh, I love it.
exactly. Yeah.
Oh,
So
perfect. But that's such a nice. I think there's such a you kind of miss the point when you. I think a lot of bands take themselves far too seriously, and that's where disagreements can come, just from people wanting
yeah,
different things. But if you gel in a way that you're just buddies making music and having a good time. I say this a lot on this podcast, but like it's such a cop out statement. But if you're not having fun doing it with the right people, then why would you do it
yeah,
anyway? So I think it's such a key
exactly.
element to it.
It's actually funny because so we came up and one of our girlfriends came up with us there to the band practice we had a few weeks ago. It was her first time seeing us, and so we're like 3 hours into the day of like getting up to Alex's house, and then we're setting up, and she's like, "It's been like 3 hours, and you guys haven't even played any music yet." And we're like, "Yeah, like we gotta hang out first. We gotta catch up. Like then we gotta plug everything in, and then we gotta fuck around, and then we play through this set like once or twice, and then we're good."
There's a whole
So
process that they
the
don't understand. We've got to have
yeah,
two
it's like
hours to just catch up.
exactly, yeah. So and that's the big thing I think from the start was like when Mikey and I first started playing music together. Um, it was just like us hanging out, and then we'd play music, and then we'd take a break, and then hang out again. Like, oh, let's get back to it, and we go play. And so the whole process of it's just been no no egos involved, just us fucking around and having fun, and then like trying to see what we can come up with.
And that's pretty much all it is. And I love when people say that because it just shows that the fact that you enjoy doing what you're doing means that you can promote and enjoy the album even more when it comes out. And I think that's just,
Yeah,
you want that kind of attitude to this kind of thing.
yeah, exactly. And it's definitely nice. Like, I really think that little hiatus we had helped too, because when we were like out of like playing shows and stuff, right? Like at that, like once you're done playing, like when you're playing shows, like you're trying to be good for like other people. Like you got an audience, you got to play good, make sure you're on point with everything. But like when we had that break and we're working on the album, we were really just making it for ourselves. There's like no one to have to like sound a certain way for or anything like that. And at the same time, it was like we weren't making any money off it, or there was no like lucrative incentive to do and putting the amount of work in we were doing. So it was all literally the whole recording process was just us doing it for fun, and then seeing how good of an album we could put out. And at the end of the day, I think like you can definitely hear a difference versus when we used to have to like go to recording studios, book our days, whatnot. Is like there's a lot of pressure on you. You really want to make sure you get it right the first take, all that, like not wasting time. And the fact that we got to do it just chilled out and relaxed and like have fun with it, and no deadline or pressure, really, I think made the recording process that much more fun and that much better.
What's been your favorite part of the whole process, if you could narrow it down?
The whole process, I would say right now it's probably my favorite part, like actually
Really?
getting stuff out. Yeah, I would say recording it was fun, but the one thing I find like while we were recording it was like we'd make something and it'd be exactly how we want it to sound, and you'd have it. You're like, man, I can't, like, this sounds fucking great, and you're like, but I gotta wait a year to put it out now because now it's got to get
Oh my
mixed
God,
and now it's
yeah,
got to get mastered.
I
Yeah,
I didn't even think about that.
yeah. So right now the fact that like we're getting to put it out and have people finally hear like what we did for so long is probably the best part.
Wow. And I guess the whole journey itself, considering it's taken, 2 years or so, it must make it all the more satisfying to actually see a song from this album, like Lessons, going back to the whole thing, seeing that out
Yeah,
and seeing it, getting the response that it has already, and, whatever it what will happen to it in the future. I feel what's that
yeah.
feeling like, just knowing that it's out there?
Oh, it's really gratifying for sure. Like we had releases in the past that did shit all right, and so, and I think we learned from that too. Just like I said, just the recording process, the release process, the way to market it. We kind of learned from that, and so right, yeah. So it feels really good, like having it out and like people actually like enjoying the hard work that we put in for it, and the response it's getting is more than what we thought. Like based off our last releases, we're like, yeah, we'll be happy if we like break 1,000, 2,000 streams, and we're at 3 weeks now and almost at 10, and it keeps growing. So it's exciting to see where the rest of the album's going to go here.
And what's the plan for, the future? Obviously, you have the singles coming out, the album. I don't know when it comes out, if you can say, but when it does come out, what is the future for the band?
Yeah, we're looking at a May release date. The actual date's not set yet, but I think it's going to be about middle of May. Um, Future of the band, we're starting now. Right now, we're just getting our live set figured out for the summer here. But like in between that, we're starting to figure out a new project now. So we got a couple things done up that we're working on. And I think we definitely want to do another concept album. We're big on that. We really like like not just treating it as like making an album, but like versus just telling a story with it. Kind of makes it more fun and gives you more kind of creative freedom with the whole thing, where it's like I want to try and tie all this together into a concept. So we're in the very, very early stages of working on the next album now.
Now, already got plans for
Yeah.
the next one. I love it.
Yeah. Yeah. We don't want to sit too stagnant and then have it all catch up on us. Be like, oh shit, we got like nothing ready now.
Well, yeah, you got to have stuff in the pipeline, that's for sure. If I've learned
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah, for sure.
Brilliant. Well, I mean, do you have anything to say as sort of a closing remark? Do you have anything to say to people who might be interested in listening to the album or for the future, or, just anything to say to fans who might potentially be listening to this?
Yeah. Just like to say, like, first of all, like, thanks for the support that we've already gotten. Like I said, more than we thought we would get, and it keeps growing. So we're really grateful that people are enjoying the music we're putting out, and I'm happy people are seeing and recognizing like how much like work and passion we put into the project. And I kind of hope with the future releases that still resonates and people can hear that. And I hope people want to hear the whole album and hear the whole story. They're definitely in for a treat for the rest. We've been saying since the start that in our opinion, Lessons is only like the third or fourth best song on the album. So we're pretty excited for people to hear the rest of it. And just to keep your eyes open for shows too, because we're starting that process now, getting shows booked. So we may be nearby, and if we're nearby, come check us out. We don't bite, and well, yeah, we love having people at the show and meeting people and just shooting the shit like we are right now. We're a bunch of guys that just like to hang out, enjoy a couple pints, and listen to music.
And who wouldn't want that? Who wouldn't want to
Yeah,
hang out with that? But make sure you do it in the
yeah,
evening, because in the day
yeah,
in the day you'll have to be, you don't want to be day sick. You want
yeah.
to be night ready.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly right.
Well, thank you very much for coming on, Logan. It's been an absolute pleasure speaking to you.
H.
And honestly, like, I can't wait for the full record to come out, hear it all in full, which obviously might be May, but we'll find out soon enough.
Yeah,
For those who were listening or didn't hear at the beginning, Lessons is out now. It came out back in December. Good Riddance is coming out on the 24th. I think it's
yeah,
the
24th.
24th.
Yeah,
So depending on when this episode comes out, it might be just after that's released. So it might be worth, saying another thing about that. But yeah, unless you've got anything more to add about Good Riddance, because this probably will come out after that's released.
yeah. So Good Riddance is third last song on the album. Kind of the turning point, and the way we're releasing the singles too is we're doing it in reverse order. So you're kind of hearing the almost end of the story to the start, and then right before the album drops, you get to hear the finale of it. Good riddance. If you like hard rock and like heavy guitars, it'll be a song for you. It hits hard and got some lot of nice melodies in it and harmonizing. So it should be right up your alley if that's what you're looking for.
Certainly down mine, that's for sure.
Right on, yeah. No, I'm looking forward to it. Like I said, Good Riddance is probably like tied for my favorite track on the album. So this will be an exciting one.
Perfect. Well, yeah. 24th of January, Good Riddance will be out, and then we can only hope that the album is as perfect as I can already envision it being. You know, the concept.
I hope so too.
I'm sure it'll be awesome. I can't wait.